Hello, young witches and wizards. Welcome to another exciting video brought to you by the Ancient and Medieval Adventures Camps for Magewort's School of Magic. Today we will be learning about magical helpers in some of our favorite fairy tales and magical stories. During this video, we will be looking at what makes magical helpers different from other kinds of magical beasts and creatures. Since magical helpers often show up in fairy tales, we will look at what their purpose or role is. Finally, we will look at some examples of magical helpers from around the world. Heroes appear in the stories of just about every culture around the world. In these stories, heroes often fight villains or mythical beasts and model noble behavior. Here we have a painting of St. George defeating a dragon from 1430 CE. People have been telling stories of heroes defeating evil for thousands of years. Often heroes are sent on a great and difficult quest. During the quest, the hero faces many challenges that they must overcome, and they sometimes need help from other characters to finish their quest. Magical helpers are here to help our heroes along and save the day. These cool guys often provide the hero or main character of a story with assistance that allows them to finish their quest. Sometimes they are beings that simply help to complete tasks or chores. Today we are going to look at several of examples of magical helpers, including Jinn, Elves, Brownies, Golems, and Ushabtis. Let's take a look at one of the better-known magical helpers from folklore, the Jinn. The Jinn are known as magical creatures that come from Islamic culture. Better known as genies, we know them as powerful spirits that grant wishes, like in the story of Aladdin and the magic lamp. In Islamic culture, Jinn are more known like demons. They come from another world and can change into animals and elemental shapes, as well as taking human form. They are neither good nor bad, but can still help humans using their magic. In European folklore, elves are perhaps the most famous magical helpers. The story of the elves and the shoemakers, as seen in the image above, tells of an old shoemaker who became rich after a group of elves secretly began crafting his shoes for him during the night. This version of the story appears in the German Grimm brothers' fairy tales, but many cultures have stories of fairy-like creatures that help out with housework. For example, in Scotland and in Ireland, there are stories of a household spirit or fairy called a brownie. Brownies are little men who, like the elves in the previous story, come out at night to do housework tasks like tidying and doing farm work for the family that they live with. Of course, it is very important to properly thank these magical helpers for their tasks. In the Elves and the Shoemaker story, the shoemaker gives the elves little clothes and shoes of their own in thanks. In the stories about brownies, if you don't thank them by leaving out milk and bread, they can get very angry and start to mess up the house instead of tidying. While many tales talk about the magical beings that help out with chores and housework, magical helpers have other purposes as well, like the Jewish Golem. In Jewish folklore and religion, there is a magical helper called the Golem. The story of Golem becomes well known in 1580 CE, but the tale has been around for hundreds of years before that. The Golem is a giant human-like figure made from clay or mud. It is brought to life by having the word Emet, which is Hebrew for truth, inscribed on its forehead. The purpose of the golem is protective rather than just helpful, and is used to keep the person or people that it serves from harm. Not only can magical helpers like these be useful to people in the living world, but they can also be helpful to people in the next. Now let's travel back in time to ancient Egypt, which had a number of magical helpers in its culture. One of the magical helpers who aims to protect and serve the soul in the afterlife was the Egyptian Ushapti. Ushaptis were servant figurines that were placed into a sarcophagus or a tomb to accompany the soul of a person and to keep them safe on their difficult journey to the afterlife. It was said that in the afterlife, the Ushapti could be brought to life to act as a servant and to complete tasks for its master. Magical helpers come in all shapes and sizes, be it helping humans in this life or the next. Assisting or protecting, magical helpers have always been there to give a hand to someone in need on their heroic or even everyday journeys. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned something new about magical helpers from around the world. Want to learn more about heroes? Check out our YouTube channel to see our video called The Hero's Journey. Make sure to check out your magical compendium where you will find fun activities. Become your own magical helper and create a genie lamp. All the materials for that activity can be found in your box.